Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and dears at home. My name is Art Atkinson. I am the acting Sergeant at Arms for Golden Speakers Toastmasters for our regular Tuesday evening meeting here at the Hy-Vee Club Room. Please help me in warmly welcoming our club president, Louis Stenbaum, to open the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant at Arms. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Golden Speakers Toastmasters. We meet here at the Club Room near the ice cream aisle in Hy-Vee at 9th and Burlington. We meet every Tuesday at 7:45, and we'd love to have you come down. You're watching on TV. Come join us in person sometime. It's a big treat. First of all, if you've got one of these, which pretty much everyone does these days, please turn it off so it doesn't interfere with our speakers tonight. Greatly appreciate that. I'd like to state the mission of our Toastmasters Club. Our mission is to create and provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Who are our guests here tonight? You're technically a guest. Would you like to say what brought you here tonight?
Just, support my peers that are members.
Okay.
But also to be a part of a group that's dynamic and practice public speaking.
Very good. Sir, what is your name?
My name is Sergio.
Sergio?
Yes, I'm here just mostly by curiosity and because I think the program is very interesting for you.
Yes. Good. Welcome. Glad you could join us tonight. You're a guest?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us why you came tonight?
Support members as well as get a few tips and tricks on public speaking.
All right. And your name?
Manis.
Okay. Thank you. Any other guests? Yes.
My best friend is speaking tonight, so I'm here for support.
Very good. Excellent. Welcome. And for all you guests, we'll come back to you at the end of the meeting to see how you liked our meeting tonight. How many people mentioned Toastmasters this week? All right. Good, good, good. Good. Excellent. That is the way we get new members. People hear about Toastmasters through their friends, colleagues, and that's what we're looking for. We're always looking for new members because new members bring variety to the club. We get to hear different kinds of speeches when people come, and that's really fascinating to us as club members. So at this point, I would like to turn the meeting over to our wonderful Toastmaster, Diane Denbaum.
You're all here. My role is I'm the hostess for the evening. I introduce the role players, make sure we run on time, to make you feel comfortable and welcome. The first role tonight is the timer, and introducing that role is Prana.
Toastmasters guests, I'm the timer. I will be deciding if you are qualified, or if you qualify for the awards at the end of the night, and just making sure you meet the standards for the speech requirements, which is 5 minutes for the at 5 minutes I'll be turning on the yellow light. Green light, 6 minutes the yellow light, and 7 minutes the red light for the speeches for Louis and Samantha. And 6, 7, and 8, same thing. Green, yellow, red. Just be aware of the light while you're speaking. And that one, 6, 7, and 8 would be for G. So yeah, just I'll make sure that you qualify for the awards. Or just be, yeah, that's my job. I'll be the timer.
Great.
Okay.
The next role is the grammarian role, and tonight it's Luke Hillis. Luke?
Tonight our word of the day is iridescent, which means showing luminous colors that seem to change when seen at different angles. We get extra props to whoever is able to incorporate iridescent into their usages. I will keep track of everyone who uses this word and give you credit at the end of the meeting. As grammarian, my role is to listen to the language that people use during the meeting and make a note of exceptionally good or bad uses of language. At the end of the meeting, I will give a report highlighting some beautiful phrases, captivating phrases, and possibly highlighting some ugly uses of language as well. I look forward to seeing you all again at the end of the meeting.
All right. And tonight our counter is Sandy Magrum. Sandy, would you like to introduce your role?
I'm the odd counter, and the odd counter's job is to look for filler words like so, and, but. Also to look for unique or different or catchy words or little sentences. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. When we get to the evaluation section of our meeting, we'll be introducing Dan Craig, who will be the general evaluator. So Dan will hear from him a bit later. Our reader joke master this evening is, we'll need someone at the end of the meeting. If you have a little joke in your pocket, unless we see DJ, I will ask for volunteers. And let's see. And then the ballot leader counter. Looks like, Sandy, you have 2 roles, so we'll also help you with that. If you have your leadership manual, you can hand that to someone to fill out. Someone who's done 3 or more speeches, right? Isn't that what I? With my, is this iridescent scarf? Kind of at a different angle.
Yes.
Change but seen it.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have a joke at some point. We will not end the meeting without a joke. And also that's right, I was doing the leader thing. All right, so on we go. Time for the speeches. So the first speech tonight is, we'll pull up the first evaluator, and that is Art Atkinson, who's going to evaluate Lewis. Art?
Thank you, Diane. Tonight, our President Louis Denbaum is going to give a talk about a project he's undertaking. I happen to have the privilege of having helped him in formulating this talk, so I have some inside vision on it. And this is going to be exciting. Louis wears many hats. He's an accountant, he's a lawyer, an entrepreneur, a trainer, a relationship coach, and a communications consultant. Doesn't all fit on one hand. As a communications consultant, Louis is presently bringing stress reduction techniques, communication skills, and executive coaching to businesses. Louis is the co-author with his wife Diane of the book Madly in Love Forever, A Guide to True and Lasting Love. He's been a resident of Fairfield since 1996. He and Diane have a blended family of 5 young adult children. The presentation tonight is part of a high-performance leadership project that Louis is taking on. The project is a key component that's required in order for a Toastmaster to achieve the Advanced Leader Silver Award. The High Performance Leadership Project requires Louis to work with a guidance committee, of which I'm a part, to create and implement a project that challenges him to develop leadership skills and demonstrate them by pulling off a major project that involves a team. The title of this talk tonight is How Golden Speakers Brought Speakers to a New Level. Please help me warmly welcome our President, Louis Denbaum.
Madam Toastmaster, club members, all of you wonderful guests, and viewers at home. If I were to say to you members, if there were a way for you to increase your speaking abilities from, say, this much to this much, would you be interested? Show with a raise of hands if you'd be interested in that. Okay. My high performance leadership project has the goal of doing just that. I want to share with you tonight my mission, my core values, and my vision for this high performance leadership project. Now, by the way, before I begin, I do have an agenda. This isn't just a speech. I am trying to enroll all of you in joining me in this project. Okay? So I'm not going to be underhanded about this. I want that right out in front, that I want all of you to work with me. So here's the mission. To create and hold a full-day workshop for District 19 Toastmaster members. That District 19 is the entire state of Iowa. So that the participants have breakthrough progress, not progress, breakthrough progress with their speaking skills. During this full-day workshop, they will practice their skills and they will get immediate feedback. That's the mission of what I'm trying to enroll you in. Now, the project has to have core values. What are the values that this project will stand for? The first is have fun. Life is too darn short to not have fun. This is not going to be a geeky project. This is going to be fun. We're going to build relationships. Not just among club members who haven't had the opportunity to work together, but I want all of you to build relationships with Toastmasters all over the state. And I don't want 3 or 4 of you involved in this. I want a lot of people involved. I want 10, 20 people involved all over the state. This is going to be a massive project. So we need a lot of people involved. The presenters at the workshop, they have to have clear presentations, and I want them to come prepared with practical exercises that the participants will be put through so they can have that breakthrough. And the participants, I want them to get personal attention. Every single participant will have personal attention from a group leader or the presenter. And I want them to get valuable feedback on the spot. These are the core values that will underlie this project. Now, can I have a volunteer? I just need someone to read 2 sentences for me. Someone? Luke. Yeah, just speak those 2 out.
I want to tell you a secret. This workshop is going to be fun.
Okay, this guy's got a lot of talent. Now, let me try that a different way. Okay, you did some good things there. But I would do it this way. I want to tell you a secret. This workshop is going to be fun! Try that. Okay.
I want to tell you a secret. This workshop is going to be fun!
Yeah! All Give them a hand for volunteering. Yeah, we didn't plan that together, did we?
No.
All right, good. So that's the kind of thing I want to do. That's a simple version of it. But I want to have people actually practice getting better at techniques. So that those two sentences had gestures and vocal variety. Real low and real loud. So that's the type of thing that we'll practice at this workshop. I want to close with my vision. So it's the day of the workshop. And I see people driving from all over the state coming to this workshop. Yeah, going to see the Golden Speakers. We've heard a lot about that club. And we're going to that crazy town Fairfield. Let's see what that's all about. And they're all psyched up. They're driving. It's a convergence from all parts of the state to Fairfield, Iowa. And I see them opening the door and walking in and seeing buddies from all over the state that they've met at other Toastmaster workshops. And I see the presenters standing up there. And they are clear, they are funny, and they've got little techniques that they're giving us. And I see the the participants going through these exercises. And they have a smile on their face because they're seeing that they're doing better. And then I further see in this vision of mine, I see the participants a month or two later at their local clubs giving their first speech after this workshop. And their club members are saying, wow, you have really kicked it up a notch. Good going. And then I see all of us who participated just feeling deeply, deeply satisfied that we had fun, we nurtured relationships with other people, and we ourselves kicked up our skills. So what I want you to join me. Okay? I don't want to hear from you guys in 3 months. After this meeting, come and tell me that you will work on this project. Madam Toastmaster.
Next, we are going to take 2 minutes now to evaluate the speaker. Yes, there's these papers. Welcome back. We have our second speaker, but before we introduce the speaker, I'd like to introduce the next evaluator, and that is Luis Burrell. Luis, doing this
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. This evening, I have the pleasure to introduce our very own Samantha Young. She's doing her project number 4 of her annual Confident Communicator Speaking, which is the same project that I'll be doing sometime soon, so more of a reason for me to pay attention. This project is titled How to Say It. The objectives are to select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. Use correct grammar. Your time is going to be from 5 to 7 minutes. Her speech is titled, How I Invite Toastmasters. Now a little bit about Samantha. She is an Iowa native who grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, a place which could be very iridescent, with a lot of nature at different times of the day, different times of the year. She's in her senior year of undergraduate study at MUM in Health educating, consulting. An individualized major that she created herself. Impressive. She is also a certified Kundalini yoga teacher, Reiki practitioner, and serves in the student government and residential life teams. Please help me welcome for a week's Samantha.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, and viewers at home. How many mentioned Toastmasters this week? Okay, great. Now the test is how many not only mentioned it, but actually have a guest here who came because of your recommendation.
Exactly.
Obviously, there are many factors that go into whether or not somebody attends a meeting, but one that we can control as Toastmaster members, or soon-to-be Toastmaster members, is how impactful our invitation comes off. I'd like to give a sample of what it sounds like for me to promote Toastmasters, and I'll go through and highlight what elements I feel work best, or at least add some flavor. My invitation starts with a question. Have you ever heard of Toastmasters? Toastmasters is an international club that, supports a positive learning environment for people to develop communication skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and leadership skills. Communication skills are something everyone needs all the time. We need to be able to effectively communicate with our friends, our families, coworkers, colleagues, clients, basically everybody. Toastmasters gives you a space to practice that every week. Our meetings are put together our meetings are a fun schedule of prepared speeches, evaluations, and table topics. Table topics? What are table topics, you might ask? Table topics are 1 to 2 minute impromptu speeches that guests are particularly encouraged to participate in. So even as a guest, you have an opportunity to speak. Table topics, if you do volunteer for table topics, you'll come up, you'll be asked a question, you'll have 30 seconds to collect yourself, and then you begin speaking for a quick 1 to 2 minute impromptu talk. Extemporaneous speaking or impromptu speaking is a type of communication we all use and need almost every single day. To be able to collect your thoughts quickly and relay them in a concise, logical manner is a skill everyone needs. You're welcome to be a guest as many times as you like until you finally decide to be an active participant in your personal growth and development as a Toastmaster member. Our meetings are held Tuesdays, 7:40, Hy-Vee Club Room. That concludes my sample of how I invite to Toastmasters, and I'll go over some highlights of what I feel works best, or at least adds some flavor. I start with a question. Have you ever heard of Toastmasters? Quick, easy, simple, to the point. And either way they answer, I can launch into my spiel. Yes, I've heard of it. Or no, I actually haven't. Okay, great, let me tell you. I also memorized that soundbite of what Toastmasters is to have it ready whenever somebody asks. I also use the term international to describe club to establish authority. I always try to mention fun somewhere, though that is usually where what I forget. Because even though we are practicing life skills, we have a lot of fun here. I continue to elaborate upon the necessity and usefulness of Toastmasters by elaborating on how communication is important and an essential skill. And as a guest, I go through the part that they can participate in, table topics. I like to explain what goes into the meeting, what goes into table topics, so that they have a clear view of what they're coming into. Ending with the memorable soundbite, Hy-Vee 740 Toastmasters. Wow. Okay. Tuesday, 7:40, Hy-Vee Club Room. It gets the concrete, significant details that they need if they get lost in my long informational explanation. As you can see, using intentional descriptions, adding a little gusto to your delivery, my invitation is not only informational, but it's also pretty enthusiastic. We stand as faces of Toastmasters outside of our meetings, and our invitations have great impact. I usually end with a short pep talk advertisement, which goes like this. You have something worth being said. Toastmasters is the space that teaches you how to articulate that message in the most meaningful manner. There is a leader within you that is begging to be let out. If you would like to be an active participant in your growth as a leader, Toastmasters is the space to do so.
Thank you, Samantha. Let's take 2 minutes, please, to evaluate. Welcome back, everyone. I'd now like to introduce the next evaluator, and that's me. So I'm introducing myself to you. I get to evaluate Jean Symington-Craig tonight. She's working in an advanced manual called the Entertaining Speaker. Tonight she's doing the first project in that manual, and that project is called the Entertaining Speaker. The advanced manual, guess, you start moving into different manuals after you complete that first manual that Samantha was working in. Jean and Lewis are in advanced manuals. We have different levels here. Jean is a long-time Toastmaster. She is kind. She cares about the self-development of the people that come to Toastmasters. I'm sure she cares about everyone, but if you come to Toastmasters, you will feel Jean's presence in your life, and you will be happy for that, and you will be grateful to Jean. She has a goal to be a distinguished Toastmaster, and with that, she's involved in a lot of projects. She helps with a prison club in Fort Madison. She has been just leading a youth leadership program here locally with the Rotary Club. These are just a few of the things that she's been doing. It is really my pleasure to introduce Jean and to be evaluating her speech. And just a little sidebar for those of you that like stories. She'll be celebrating her 15th wedding anniversary, February 10th, with the wonderful Dan Craig. So, anyway, I better move on. The objectives, when you go to evaluate, bear in mind, this is an entertaining speech. So her job, the objective is to entertain the audience by relating a personal experience. And then the second one is organize an entertaining speech for maximum impact. So please welcome Jean Symington Craig. And the title of the speech is, "What Was I Thinking?" What was I thinking? Jean Symington Craig.
Ronnie, you want to hit the light?
Yes. I might watch.
6 to 8, 6, 7.
Yep, 6, 7.
What was I thinking? Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. I was inspired by Annette's disclosure last week of one of her most embarrassing moments, so I thought I would share one of my own. First, the background. It was the mid-1980s. I was a bank officer in a small Denver bank where the employees were a little younger, a little more creative, but it was still a bank, which means things and people in general are conservative and traditional as a rule. I had several administrative people who were reporting to me, including effervescent, probably iridescent, Kimberly, the receptionist. Kimberly was sweet, she was cute, and very young, maybe 20. I really was protective of these individuals. They were mostly young women, and I was always on the lookout to make sure that they weren't getting inconsiderate, clueless comments from the men. Our bank president, Charlie, was a good person, also kind of youngish as far as bank presidents go, who became quite friendly with Kimberly. They would always be joshing around at the front when he was coming and going and laughing, and Kimberly always showed deference because this was the bank president. I took notice of this, but I thought it was all within bounds. Until Charlie went to Hawaii and sent a card to Kimberly with a scantily clad woman, think Hawaiian, teeny, bikini type thing, with a comment alluding to Kimberly that she was this woman. I don't remember the comment today exactly, but I do remember that I considered it inappropriate and it raised my hackles. Sexual harassment on my watch, not happening. I told Kimberly that we were going to play a joke on Charlie at the next company meeting in a kind of a fun, retaliatory way. I was Kimberly's boss, so she said okay and was going to go along with it. If only she had stopped me. I told Kimberly to go out and look around and find a picture that was similar to the one that Kimberly had received from Charlie, but just with a male. I thought what we would do at the company meeting would be to flash the card that Charlie had sent her and then saying something like, "And here's Charlie," while flashing the picture that Kimberly had found. I thought this would get back a little bit at Charlie and maybe balance this off-base behavior that I thought he had had. The company meeting day arrived. It was D-Day. We would commonly meet in the lobby before the bank opened, and we would get the news on the bank. Before the meeting, Kimberly was looking a little nervous, comes up to me and wants to know if I want to see the picture that she has selected. And she's got the magazine under her arm. If only I had done my due diligence. History would have taken a completely different trajectory. But no, I said, no, I'll see it when we do it, and really didn't think about it again. We were in the company meeting, and Charlie was just finishing up his State of the Bank announcements. I reached over to Kimberly and indicated that she should give me the magazine. I could have paused here again because Kimberly at this point was quite pale. And she was African American, so this is saying something. However, I breezed through all the warning symptoms, signs. I took the magazine, and I made the announcement to the group that we were going to have a special presentation. Now I'm standing up in front of 30 to 40 people, and I show the card that Kimberly had gotten from Charlie. I'm putting a lighthearted spin on things, trying to set this up for this joke. Then, with a flourish, I whip out the magazine to the page that Kimberly had marked for me and triumphantly declared, "And here's Charlie." I was expecting some laughter, maybe some subtle grins. There was dead silence, and then gasping. Something was not right. I turned the magazine around and I looked at the picture. My mouth hung open in disbelief. I felt like I had stuck my finger in an electrical outlet. It was that shocking. Yes, it was a male, but this gentleman was so heavily endowed and there was nothing left to the imagination. It was probably the most graphic depiction that could have been selected, and I had just announced that this was our bank president. I couldn't blame Kimberly. I had no one to blame but myself. It never occurred to me that this would be the type of picture that she would select. Shame on me for not previewing. As I lifted my horrified eyes from this picture, I met the equally horrified eyes of my colleagues. One and all, they were looking at me. What was she thinking? The meeting ended on that note, but the music was not over for me. The rest of the day, people would walk by my door and look in with that kind of fascination that you have when you're looking at a serious train wreck. It's kind of, you know it's a bad situation, but you can't help looking at it again and again. It's that irresistible allure of disaster. They would look in, I would look up, just misery shining out of my eyes. They would be shaking their heads, saying, "What were you thinking?" And then heading on down the hall. Over and over and over. I stepped into Charlie's office to tell him in a mortified whisper that I hadn't actually seen the offending photograph. Well, that only further highlighted my complete lack of judgment. On the good side, Charlie was starting to get the idea that it was a joke that had gone tragically off the rails. My hair still stands on end to this day, thinking about what happened. It tempered my understanding about how badly things can go without the proper oversight. Things can be very bad. And when I look inward at myself, usually competent, usually intelligent individual, I can still hear those words echoing to myself, what was I thinking?
Right, what a variety of speeches tonight, fantastic. Please take 2 minutes, and Prana, again, if you would talk 2 minutes and we'll evaluate Jean's speech. Good, welcome back. Now, if you would please, Prana, I don't need the actual times, but just the names of the people that qualified, the speakers that qualified, please.
All right, let's.
Because we're going to vote on the best speaker.
So the qualifying speakers for tonight are Louis Denbaum, Samantha
right then, very good. So please vote for one of the speakers. There's that strip of paper and you just tear off the part. One of my jobs is to make sure everything's running on time, so I'm going to stick to this agenda. We're on? So now I'd like to introduce, we're going to move into the evaluation section, and to lead that is Dan Craig. Welcome, Dan and Craig.
Fellow members, viewers at home, honored and distinguished guests, it's time now for the evaluators to let us know what they saw that was very good and what they saw that maybe could be improved for next time. Our first evaluator is going to be Art, who will be evaluating Lewis's speech. Please welcome Art.
Okay, Toastmasters, and guests, and viewers. How many of you are just itching to participate in this event that Lewis described? See a couple of hands. I've seen more hands. Okay, go ahead and scratch that itch now, because he intends to make sure you get a way to scratch it. What I really liked about this was the bigness. I mean, I know Lewis. I've been friends with Lewis for a really long time. I have to work at being as big as Lewis naturally with everything that he does. Lou just doesn't do anything half big. And this was no exception. So the opening gesture, if I could show you a way to improve your speaking skills from here to here, would you be interested? Well, now that's a great way to engage us. One suggestion I would have for him is a key question about this talk is, does it enroll the audience in participating and helping in the project? And did he adequately present to us how important this was to each of us individually in the audience? My suggestion would be, the question would be, what would it mean to you if we could compress your learning experience instead of taking 6 months to achieve fluency with all of the skills involved in vocal variety and gestures, for example, that it could be done in 1 day? How many people would be excited about that kind of a compression of time, an accelerated learning curve? That would have been a way to bring home to us how this might be important to us. So I have a few suggestions for Lewis, but mostly it's minor improvements around the edges. Another thing that I really liked was that he let us know up front, I've got an agenda, and that agenda is to enroll each of you in working on this project. A follow-on point to that would be, how do you actually join me in helping pull off this project? Didn't mention any of that. I also liked the very visual way in which he described his vision of what's going to happen. People converging from all over the state, driving here, chatting with each other about that strange town of Fairfield and that really spectacular club they seem to have down there. The anticipation of people converging from all over. I really like the emphasis on fun and the emphasis on visual. You're going to achieve a breakthrough. And incorporating a demonstration with a simple 2-sentence exercise, and then having the good luck to have Luke Hillis actually be the one who demonstrated it, that was real effective. How many people got a good feel for just what would happen during one of the breakout sessions in this day-long event? Thank you. Now, what again I would suggest is that learning like this takes place by repetition, and he didn't really emphasize the repetitive execution of these exercises to really achieve mastery in one day. So there were many, many good points about this talk. A few little minor suggestions I have for things that could be done to make the vision more specific and clear. But overall, I'm glad to see about half the hands went up, you're enrolled. So the project is off to a good start.
Thank you, Art. Now for our second evaluator, I'm going to call up Luis, who's going to evaluate Samantha.
Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home, and especially Samantha. How many of you guys feel more compelled now to become a Toastmaster member after hearing Samantha's speech? I know that if I weren't a member, I would want to become a member now. So following up with the questions that we have in the manual for project number 4, was the speech topic appropriate for this particular assignment? Yes. This topic is what we're all about, so absolutely, absolutely. This topic can apply to most speeches, given that related to what we do. Did the speaker use simple, short, and clear words? Yes. Maybe more simple words for your average Joe when you give your sampler to people, so they just don't feel maybe as intimidated that you have to speak in a certain way. Did the speaker use vivid, descriptive words that created mental images? I really like the word that you used, the sentence that you said. The leader within you that is begging to be let out, that was very descriptive, so I really enjoyed that. Did the speaker use words that have more than one meaning or were inaccurate? I don't believe there were any, I didn't catch any of the word. Were the speaker's sentences short and simple? Yes, and understandable. Yeah. Everything, all the points that she was trying to make. Very clear. Did the speaker use rhetorical devices to enhance his or her idea? She did in one instance, that sentence that I just mentioned. Maybe I would have liked if she had brought in a little bit more vivid images. Did the speaker avoid jargon and unnecessary words? Yes. Did the speaker use proper grammar and pronunciation? Yes. I would like if you could slow down a little bit more so that I could hear more, but great. Was the speech purpose clear? Yes, absolutely. Like I said, that's what we're all about. It was a very clear understanding of what she was trying to bring people in a larger club. Was the speech effectively organized? Absolutely. All the points were very concise, and there was a nice flow in the presentation. And I love the sample that really brought in a very concrete idea to your speech. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? Like I said, you could have used more rhetorical devices here and there in between, such as similes, metaphors, alliteration, or triads, for instance, while inviting them. We have fun, you learn life skills, and you get to buy ice cream afterwards. When you something like that. That's a guess when you speak to the guests. Something like that, yeah. What did I like about the speech? The involvement, direct involvement with the audience from the beginning. That's always a good way to bring in the audience and have them pay a little bit more attention. The suggestive statements for the future guests while she was giving the speech, I thought that was a really good thing to do. Great eye contact. I noticed, Samantha, you were really good at giving eye contact to the audience while you were speaking. And great use of stage to illustrate your points. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luis. And now we're going to hear from Diane, who's going to evaluate Jean.
Good evening again. Yes, viewers at home. I'm going to use the manual. What indicated to you that the audience was entertained? I was sitting there, And, you know, scanning over, everyone was laughing. Luke was hysterical. I saw laughter. I could hear laughter. I heard groans. I heard, uh-oh. Will was sort of trying to hang on to the camera because his body's going like this. So there was plenty, in my mind, people were entertained. And there was plenty of laughter. And that's the point of this speech. It's to entertain. It's a speech you have in your pocket and you could use it anywhere. Who wouldn't laugh at that speech and be entertained? And you know, keep it light. This project mentions keep it light. It's a really fun one. So I feel Jean did a great job with that, and you all showed me that when I was observing you. The next part is briefly describe the talk's organization as you perceived it, meaning me. Here's what I loved, the opening. Someone stands there and says, I'm going to tell you something that really was embarrassing. And I want to hear that. What happened to you? Because who hasn't been embarrassed? So I was curious in, let's see what's going to happen. That's what happened for me. This goes a little bit with a suggestion for improvement. Now, I was watching you, you know, you're an evaluator, so you're listening. There was a lot there in the beginning, for me anyway, with the sexual harassment and the teeny-weeny bikini. So either I just missed something, but where I began to really get your story was, you know, with the magazine and that. So for me, it just took a little while to get the gist, quite honestly. And I think here it says to keep it simple. It didn't, in the beginning, just didn't start out like that for me. The middle was, you know, there was just, well, that's the part where I got a little bit lost, the beginning of the middle. But, oh gosh, you know, all your descriptive language, which I'm sure Luke picked up, and I'll leave some of that for him as the grammarian, but you just had describing, you know, irresistible laws of disasters and something shining out of eyes, and, you know, you were pulling your hair on end, so that combination of gestures, and then, of course, holding the magazine, and then describing this great endowment. That really, that said it all. I hope I'm doing justice here, because it was just really, that was the greatest part. And tying in that theme, what was I thinking? You kept saying that over and over, so it kept reminding us, oh, you know, your frustration. Here, my one other suggestion is Jean's a pro. I really think this would knock it out of the ballpark, as they say, for you. There was a part where, oh, yeah, when you saw the magazine, and then you told us, and then I saw the magazine and I said, oh my God, what have I done? Or, you know, what was I thinking? I would act that out. Instead of narrating that, I would hold the magazine and I would say, you know, kind of show us what happened. Oh my God. Wow. You know, he's in doubt, or, you know, whatever it was, something like that. Anyway, that's what I would do. I would act it out rather than narrating the whole story, even though you're telling the story. I have notes galore here. It was sincere, you used humor, gestures. It was a fantastic story, and that, you know, what were you thinking, Jean?
Thank you, Diane. Now we're going to move on to our table topics. And to run that section, I'm going to ask Will Burns to come up. He's our table topics master.
Thank you, Dan. This is the table topics portion of our meeting. Usually we call these the appetizer. Now this is like the tasty little finger food dessert, I guess, at the end of the speeches, which were all fabulous. This is our chance to work our extemporaneous speaking abilities, to speak off the cuff, whether we're stuck in an elevator for 8 hours because it broke with somebody else and we have to think of something to say, or if we just have to talk to somebody next to us, or whatever. You know, if you're caught in an embarrassing situation in a meeting and you have to break the ice somehow or make some sort of quick quip, here's your chance. So I have 5 questions here dealing with our theme tonight, which is snow days. And I will first ask for volunteers. Do I have a volunteer in the audience? DJ, come on up. One through 5.
6.
Okay.
5.
Nope. Not here. There's been a surprise snowstorm, and tomorrow you have a snow day.
Wait, is table on?
It is.
All right.
And tomorrow you have a snow day. Tell us your plans for that day.
Snowstorm?
It's a snow day. So basically, no school if you have school, no work if you have work. Your day is
Free.
twice in the off, and it's free during the week.
So I have a free day
During the week.
during the week, and I need
Wednesday.
to plan for it.
Yep.
And what am I going to do for the day? Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
You have 30 seconds to think about it. Hit it.
What a bummer. What a bummer. I'm stuck at home. Beautiful snow outside. Can't get out of my home. I am sad. So what do I do when I'm sad? Besides watching some really dirty things on the internet. There are other things that I would like to do. I would like to become a better person. So that day, I would set the day to no dirty video day. Usually when I'm bored, usually when I'm alone and lonely, those are my companions. Those are my Valentine's Day dates. But on that day, even though it's the most tempting day to go and see my babies, no. I will need a day where God has said, you shall look at what you're tempted at and you will learn self-discipline. And I will say to God, I accept the challenge. Snow day is the day. No dirty videos. I'll read a book. The whole day.
We have another volunteer. Police.
Yeah.
Four.
Many people who live in Fairfield like to talk about their escape plan this time of year in Iowa. Please tell us about your escape plan or how you plan to embrace this time of year in Iowa.
Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, viewers at home. If money weren't an issue, and I could go wherever I wanted, however I wanted, it would definitely be the tropics. Anywhere around the world where it's warm. Could be Thailand, could be Ecuador, could be my hometown Colombia, could be Singapore. I believe that we are creatures that are meant to be in warm climates. I mean, think about it. If we weren't wearing any clothes, would you step outside in the snow and you couldn't even walk from here to your car without just being in so much pain? I believe that if we were in the tropics, we could be anywhere without wearing any clothes. The natural state, I mean, do you see any animals wearing any clothes to do anything? They don't, because they're in their natural state. So therefore, I would like to be in a place. Even if I wear, I'll still wear clothes and stuff. But I would like to be at a place where I could just wear shorts and just get a lot of sun, not have to deal with the snow. As a matter of fact, during this winter, I was resolute that as soon as I'm done with school, I am not going to deal with any more idle winters. You may know why you're experiencing it right now, even though we had a pretty nice, some nice days. And that is it. Thank you very much.
And good luck. I've heard that a lot. And now it's my pleasure to call up our Toastmaster. Again, we got a lot going on here. We're going to start off by seeing if both our speakers qualify tonight.
Okay, let's see what we got. So
Just
far, yes, DJ qualified and so did Luis. Yes.
please vote for either DJ or Luis. And we're back. Now it's my pleasure to call up my partner in crime, our table topics evaluator, Monty Conger.
Fellow Toastmasters, especially our two dueling table topics contestants. DJ, yeah, your subject was the surprise snow day. And I think you lived up to that subject matter. You definitely surprised us. You were enthusiastic, came up here, and you're like, yeah, table topics. You got picked. And I have to say that the way that you approached the question was definitely original. So get a point for originality. You also, a couple ways that you can improve. I would recommend greeting the audience. You launched right away just into bam. So maybe take that 30 seconds, even just a couple seconds, collect a little bit, and then go into it. That way you can flow much easier. Your audience can keep up with you with what you're doing. You also had great vocal variety. That's another thing I want to commend you on. You sort of acted out the whole skit. You used the stage. You started over here. You ended up over here by the end of the speech. That was a nice use of the stage. One more thing. I wouldn't say that your talk was inappropriate, but it was borderline. It was edgy. So all I'm saying is just be aware of that, because there was a little bit of discomfort when you first launched into it. But it's borderline. It's borderline. So all I'm saying is just be aware of your audience. We are on television, but you kept us on the edge of our seats for sure throughout the whole thing. Luis, you had the escape plan. Where would you go to get away from winter? And you had very good gestures. You have powerful gestures. You articulate well. You asked a question of the audience. It's like, don't you think it's crazy that humans aren't meant to be outside? Who agrees with me? When we want to go outside naked. The one thing I want you to work on is your conclusion. You basically said, that's it. You can conclude stronger. So take that 30 seconds, maybe that 30 seconds, you can come up with a conclusion if you already know what you're going to say. Madam Toastmaster or General Evaluator?
Thank you, Monty. Now we're going to vote for the best evaluator. And I'm going to ask Prana to tell us, of the 4 evaluators, did they all qualify? What are their names?
I forgot to qualify or time the evaluators. I forgot that they were being timed, but
they all qualify.
Yes. Actually, I'm just gonna say Monty did qualify because I'm pretty sure it was under the time. But Luis and Monty did qualify.
And so you're.
That's the only people that qualified.
Diane did not.
So Diane and Art were overtime?
Correct.
Okay.
Should I say their time?
No, we'll get that later. Okay. So we're going to choose between Monty and Luis. Please vote. Now it's the time when we get the reports from our role players. First, I'm going to ask Prana, our timer, to give us the times of all the speeches.
All right. Okay, so let's start from the top here. The first speech of the night was Louis Stenbaum, and he had a 7-minute and 20 speech, which was just under the time, which is good. And Samantha, you had 6:32. Let's see. Okay, Jean, yours was 7 minutes, right on the cusp. And EJ, for the table topics, yours was 2:15, and so qualified. And the other, let's see, yeah, Luis was 8. Wait, I'm sorry. 1:32. Short speech there, but it's good. And for the evaluators, speech evaluators for the night, we had Art was 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And Diane was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Just on the cusp again. And does it qualify?
3:30.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, I have 3:35. I misread it, so
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
No, I was, yeah.
All right.
What were you thinking?
Truthfully, it was 3:37. Yes. And Luis was 2:02. So that's the that's my role for the night, and everybody. And so table topics, we have 2 qualifiers for the table topics.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Prana. Now we're going to hear from Luke with his grammarians.
Yeah. We had 3 individuals who used the word iridescent. Diane did, and Louise, and Jean. They all used iridescent. Some of my favorite phrases and words used, heard a fun retaliatory way, heard that kind of fascination of a train wreck, and irresistible allure from Jean, and from Sam, the leader within you, begging to be let out, and gusto, and Louis used the phrase geeky project, and Will had speaking off the cuff and quick quip. And that's it. That's it for the grammarian report. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Now our odd counters report. We're going to hear from Sandy.
Tonight, there weren't a lot of odds and ends and nuts in it. Louis had 2 so's, 1 end. Samantha had 1 2 repeats and 1 false start. Jean had 2 false starts. Art had 2 so's and 1 end. Diane had 4 so's, 1 end. Dan had 2 ends. Brian had 2 ends and 2 so's. And Luke had 1 so.
Thank you, Sandy. Now the greeter joke master on the schedule is DJ. Did you come with a joke? Of course. What are you talking about? Is this like a PG-13 joke?
Yeah.
Okay. You intellectual folks, right? So, a neuron walks into a bar. That's the bartender. Hey, dog. How much for a beer, man? The bartender says to him, for you, no charge.
some real entertainment tonight. So my job is to evaluate the meeting. Obviously, it was a lot of fun. And to evaluate the evaluators, who were not much fun. No, we had some excellent evaluators. And let me start with Art. Who evaluated Lewis, did so many things well. He started out with a rhetorical question to the audience. He told us right away what he liked in the speech, showed us some real enthusiasm for what Lewis had given us. Then he used a really nice technique where he'd say something that he liked and he'd give it a little shade of a suggestion. So he managed to give Lewis maybe 4 or 5 suggestions, really pretty impressive. Very, very good job. My only suggestion for you is that you need to watch the time. And you do have a tendency sometime to speak a little too quietly for the audience. All in all, it was good, but occasionally. Then we had Luis, who was evaluating Samantha. Terrific job. First evaluation. What I really liked that you did was when you introduced her, you read the objectives. Thank goodness. That's the most important thing in the introduction. And I like that you followed the manual as you gave your reaction to the points that she was trying to achieve in the project. That was also well done. I also heard you use a rhetorical question. You appreciated the language that she used. The only suggestion that I have for you is that it is very tricky to look at your notes and then look up at the audience. And I thought you did a very good job, particularly for the first time. You had a little tendency to read your questions in a nice, strong voice and give your reactions in a voice that kind of would trail off. So just keep in mind that an evaluation is kind of a presentation too. So keep the strong vocal going. But really a very nice first try. And I also like that you suggested triads.
Yes.
We love triads around here. Then Diane. Really a nice introduction. She let us know that she had enthusiasm for Jean's talk. She talked a bit about the things that Jean does for Toastmasters, so she had enthusiasm for Jean as a fellow member. I thought she used a really nice description of how the audience was reacting to Jean's talk. Very vivid. She was recounting the things that she heard and saw. So we knew that that was what the audience was doing. I also liked the point where she was talking about Jean's talk, where she was telling us that something really embarrassing happened to her, and she sort of moved on. I really wanted to hear it. So a very nice presentation. I think the only little things to mention for you is time.
Yeah.
And at the one point, this is tough to do, but at the one point you gave Jean a suggestion that her talk didn't flow simply enough. You got a little bit lost. If it would have been possible to suggest to her just briefly how it could have been clearer for you, that would have been valuable for her. And then finally, Monty, at the table topics. I don't really have a suggestion for you. You did an excellent job. You gave a suggestion for each of the speakers. You appreciated something that they had done well. And I don't think you could have done too much better than you did. I'm going to now turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Diane.
Okay, let's move this meeting so we stay with our commitment to end on time. Let's have that drum roll. We're going to give out the award. Best table topic tonight, we have a tie. And guess who? So come on up, DJ, and Louis. I'll get another one out. Stay warm and drum roll again, we're gonna drum roll and clap. It's moving, best evaluator tonight, Monty. Drumming, and the best speaker tonight is Monty.
I just want to say one thing. I realized my story was also starting to get towards the edge a little bit. I chose words to paint pictures, but without going over the edge. But I really appreciate that Monty clarified our audience. We have our viewers at home, because everyone started in the tropics. Let's get our clothes off. We had snow days where it was just. And I know I set that going. But and it's fine outside of our meetings, okay? No issues there. It's fine. But I just appreciate that Monty pointed out that we do have a general audience, and all of our jokes, all of our things really need to be children level. Yeah, really, really, yes. Okay, good. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to give Samantha tonight, she earned her 4th. Keep on speaking and evaluating the people that are getting through this. So now I'm going to invite up Louis, the president.
Lou. I want to thank Diane. Diane jumped in at the last minute. She was slated to be an evaluator, but our Toastmaster didn't show up, so she did double duty tonight. So thank you, Diane. At our officer training, we were given enough little Toastmaster bracelets for everyone. So I'm going to leave these out here. And feel free to take one. And what better way? Samantha, this is perfect for people like you to say, like, what's that bracelet you're wearing?
Yes.
Toastmasters. Toastmasters, yeah. All right. And I want to cite Jean for unfair use of hair during her speech. I just couldn't do that. Can't compete with that. So, this Friday, 7:30 at Fairfield Nutrition, west side of the square, is our speech competition video night. We have the DVD from the 2014 International Inspirational Speech Competition, and we will get to see what many top-notch speeches are for Toastmasters. So bring guests, come on time.
7:30.
7:30.
It's gonna be munchies.
Munchies?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
And share it on the Facebook.
Yes, oh yes. Diane put on our website, our Golden Speakers Toastmasters Facebook page, an event. Share that with your friends so that they'll know that it's happening. The other thing is that March 3rd is our Table Topics meeting. On March 3rd, Tuesday night, March 3rd, 7:45, Monty is running a Table Topics meeting. There will be 3 or 4 different ways to do table topics, so everyone will get a chance to participate. Well, not everyone, but many people will get a chance to participate. And then also, March 17th is our club contest for the International the inspirational speaking and table topics. This is the speech that goes all the way to the international competition. So it starts here on March 17th. So think about whether you want to participate in that as a speaker, as a contestant, either for table topics or inspirational speech. And I'm still looking for a contest chair to run that contest. So please come see me if you're interested in that. And also come and see me if you're interested in being part of this most monumental one-day workshop that will change the face of public speaking for the state of Iowa. Any other club business? Is there? Oh, wait. What's that?
I move we adjourn.
No, I'm going to get one sentence from each of our guests about what they liked about the meeting, if they liked anything.
I really enjoyed the table topics. It's a great way to sort of enhance your daily speeches and just communication and conversing skills.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. Sergio?
All the speakers did very well, and I enjoyed their speech all the time. It was great.
Very good. And in the back.
I really loved all the humor that was brought in the talk. It's great to laugh. People sharing their funny stories.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Meeting adjourned.